like to extend our sympathies to Deputy Pearse Doherty on the sudden death of his father, who's being laid to rest this morning. So, ar yesterday go raibh anam dílis. They say, Taoiseach, that lightning doesn't strike twice, but in the case of Minister Hogan, he seems to be disproving that particular maxim. Can we have a couple of straight answers from you? You say that there'll be no upfront charge. Are you therefore saying that people will not be charged for the installation of meters? Could you answer that, please? Could you also tell us whether or not this government is really considering the prospect of cutting off water supply to houses in the event of a charge not being paid? This is a strategy that was indicated by one of your ministers. Do you believe, Taoiseach, that in this day and age that would be any kind of a civilised option? And can I ask you, Taoiseach, you say that there will be a number of years for the details of this scheme to be worked out. You say that the regulator has to have an eye to the consumer and to the hardships that might ensue. Can I ask you as Taoiseach, and can I ask the government benches to, in the first instance, have that eye to the citizen? Because the reaction of the general public to this, yet another charge, is the question, where do you imagine people are going to get the money and the wherewithal to meet this charge? Substantial numbers of people have not registered and will not register for the household charge for the very simple reason that they cannot afford it. Equally, hardship will ensue. Equally, hardship will ensue from this charge.
Please. Question.
And Taoiseach, you make a virtue of the fact that you will not touch income tax. It's obviously a matter of doctrine now that you won't tax the very wealthy, but you're fairly gung-ho about imposing charge after charge on lower and middle-income people. So tell us, what will the charge be for the installation of meters? And will you give us a guarantee that whatever way this scheme works out, that you will not countenance in any circumstances cutting off water supply to homes across this state?
Thank you. Taoiseach, 3 minutes. Thank you.
I'm not sure whether you checked with your counterparts in Northern Ireland, but you seem to have a very different philosophy down here. The position is that there will be no upfront charge for anybody here, and when this system is worked out by the regulator, the cost of the system will be subsumed into the standing charge to be determined by the regulator. So the person living in your constituency will not be given an upfront bill to say this is what you must pay here. In respect of the electricity, as you know, as a public utility, a standing charge is determined by the regulator there and has been for very many years. In respect of people being cut off, these are all matters for discussion about how the system is actually going to work. If you don't pay your electricity bill, you don't pay your telephone bill, it's cut off. Now, water is fundamental for life. And if governments say we're going to give everybody an allowance that is free, obviously that speaks for itself. But clearly the system here is for everybody to understand that we cannot go on the way we have been going on. We cannot continue to have 40% of water leaking through systems. We can't have 30. Yes, we will fix the problem. We will fix them. See, Joe,
you've already surrendered your leadership.
Joe the plumber lost his place and he's moved further to the right. For your information as well, Deputy, you can take it. You can take it. You take it as a given that in the general discussions that take place about this, the priority of government is to see and reflect and understand the difficulties that many people have. But as I've explained to you on many occasions in the past, troika or no troika, this country has got to sort out our public financial problems ourselves. there is nobody going to walk in with the cheque and say it's all paid for. So everybody is involved in this, and government understand, and that's why we've introduced waivers and exemptions and regulations that lessen the burden in respect of those people who have real difficulty here. The question was asked yesterday of somebody, is there VAT going to be imposed in this water? The answer to that question is no, because VAT is exempt, as you know, under European regulation.
Thank you.
So the cost of the installation of the meters, I've seen even in today's papers reflections of various costs of meters from €30 to €200 to €300, and the cost of installation varying in various locations around the country. That's all a matter for discussion and a matter for determination by Bord Gáis when they set up Irish Water together with the regulator. As I said, Deputy McDonald, the government will determine what the allowance to be free allocation actually is.
Thank you, Taoiseach. 1 minute.
But just to set the record straight, over £1 billion sterling has been invested in water improvement in the north. There are no household water charges. We saw to that, and there is no prospect of that. And there is no prospect of the service being privatised. Those are the facts. Those are the facts, Taoiseach.
Sorry, would you please?
I find it
Would you please ask your supplementary question?
I find it absolutely astonishing that you say that it will be a matter for discussion whether or not water supply would be cut off to houses and homes across this state. I find that is a direct quote, Taoiseach. This will be a matter for discussion. There can't be any discussion on that matter.
A question, please.
Water, as you say yourself, is an absolute essential for any decent standard or quality of living. You've conceded that yourself. You say that the speculation as regards the costs that are doing the rounds in the public arena are just speculation. But in the absence of any clarity from the government, there will be that speculation.
Thank you.
You have failed this morning to answer in any substantive way for the citizens of this state what level of charge they will be facing. And most astonishingly, you will not rule out the prospect of cutting off water supply to people's homes. I think that is a disgrace, Taoiseach, and I'd ask you, when you get to your feet again in a moment's time, to make it crystal clear to people who are watching this very, very worried that the water supply to their homes will not be jeopardised.
Thank you.